Okay, I don't think it's a bad thing to segue from horrible torture to the current state of Disney.
That's true. That is a very... Goddamn.
And on that note, welcome to Undercooked Analysis, the show where the Disney rules everything, even this show.
Apparently.
I'm your ex-annual pass holder host, David King, and I'm firmly committed to Knott's Berry Farm now, because at least their seasonal entertainment is good, and at least their immersive land makes you feel really genuinely immersed.
Shots fired.
I'm sorry. I know I was one of those people who was like, oh my god, if they actually populated Galaxy's Edge with more like improv character actors. Hey, props to the cast members who were there, because when we were there, it was pretty cool, and everybody was in character.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I give them that. But man, do I want there to be more like sort of a story-driven element to the whole thing, because Knott's does that super easily every summer with Ghost Town Alive. But anyway, that's Knott's, and they also don't have a giant corporation intellectual property to work off of. So
I think it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because while there could have been more, it was very comfortable to be there when we went.
Yeah,
It wasn't too crowded.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't people constantly in my face. The lines, well, the one line was understandable for what was there, but we still got to do it twice in one day. And
the line
was good
fact
too.
that the line was at like 75 minutes max compared to like when the Frozen ride in Epcot opened was 3 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And I've seen clips of that, and that... Wow.
It's just a glorified character meet and greet slapped on top of Maelstrom. That's really all that the ride is.
Yes,
and yet, because Elsa's in it and she does the song, every child in the world wants to ride it.
Oh, I hear that the new song she sings in Frozen 2 is way more catchier, so get ready for it.
Oh boy.
The first Frozen was lightning in a bottle. Like, I don't know if it's going to have the same impact.
Doesn't matter. It'll make $1 billion.
It sure
Doesn't
will.
matter.
So this is the return of the deep Disney creepypasta. The Disney creepypasta strikes back. I don't know. There's a
the last time we did an episode, we did all of our winners.
correct.
But we wanted to pull up 3 of our honorable mentions, which were sort of judge favorites.
Yes.
And I gotta say, this was hard. This was actually harder for me because there were a few cross correlations for stuff we really liked.
Yes.
I think, generally speaking, these 3 stories are ones we enjoyed. They just didn't have the same like specific like because the reason that we chose the 3 winners we did is we all agreed that those stories were the ones that were in our like top 5 or whatever.
Exactly. And then not only that, the stories we chose were like this kind of fits me. Like, I really like this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, our picks are ones that appeal to us personally.
yes.
Yes. And I should say we have our usual suspects here. Kayla's here,
Hi.
and Seid is here.
Hello.
And joining us to be our sort of blind critic is Abysmii.
Greetings.
So this should be fun. I'm going to start queuing up the stories here pretty soon, but I just want to make sure we had the context down for why we were doing these and why we've decided to continue the DisneyPasta thing into our second round of UCA's pseudo return, I should say. Where should we start?
I know your favorite is the shortest, David.
Yes.
So we could start there. Seid,
I'd say we save Kayla's for last.
Okay.
Okay.
For reasons.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
That works for me.
Okay. I know why, but yeah, I think let's go do yours first because it's fairly short.
All right. The
Good
link
warm-up.
is going up in the chat as we speak. This story is called "Does Anyone Know This Mascot?" and it is by our old friend ClericofMadness.
Wow, immediately I like the format.
That's
Yes.
So the main. This is not going to translate super well on the podcast, but the reason I love this one is, I mean, the content itself is pretty interesting, but man, the way it's told through this sort of like a non-answers thing.
Yeah,
is
it looks
this answer
just like
service.
screen caps that someone took right off a site. So
The Yahoo answers.
Yeah, I
or
was
something.
just
yeah,
gonna say
100% on
answers.
presentation.
I feel like now that we're here, I should be going like, hey, how about a Yahoo? This one was sent in by Cleric of Madness. Thank you, Cleric. It's sent in by anonymous by Yahoo Answers user. Sorry, something's gone wrong with this website. I'm gonna call them Jeffrey.
Oh my god. Okay, that's a really fucking good Griffin McElroy. How are we gonna read this? Should we have?
Do we each want to take a?
Okay, there's characters. Hold on, go down.
There's like 3 different.
There's a JJ.
How about we alternate posters?
That seems good.
Okay.
Or because if we, let's see.
So keep in mind, like we started to say,
3, 4.
This is actually being presented like we're looking at screen caps from a answers page.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So props to Cleric already for the formatting. That's really cool.
How about you're the person that?
I'll ask the question. You guys can try and answer it.
But you could just be the last person. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Or Gracie could.
Gracie.
While we're talking, Gracie's been in Kayla's lap the whole time, but Gracie doesn't seem too interested in joining in. So
she's just.
You're not, because you seem like whenever you want to join in, we're not interested in having you, because then you bark in the distance, and
Yeah, thank God she's not doing that right now.
Yeah, it's pretty thankful. Okay. But yeah, if you all are good with that, we will carry on. So this is posted under the tags Travel and Disney. Does anyone know this mascot? So a few months ago, middle of July, my husband, myself, and our 2 sons went to Disneyland. Great fun, wonderful place.
Sure.
Is it sad that I almost heard that in like a Trump voice? Great fun, wonderful place.
Oh God.
Really? Yeah. Hall of Presidents. No, that's Disney World anyway. However, we met this one mascot that none of us recognized. We met him when we went down a side path. If I had to guess, I would say he was dressed as some kind of bat character, maybe? My memory was pretty fuzzy at this point. He also didn't look quite right, like his costume wasn't washed or something. He didn't smell, but we could tell there was definitely something off about him. He muttered to himself when he saw us, and then held out his arms. Our 2 kids, not knowing any better, ran up to him and hugged him. Almost immediately, my mommy instincts kicked in, and I grabbed the kids. My husband was blissfully oblivious to everything. The bad guy asked me what was wrong. His voice was strange, to say the least. It was soft, but at the same time sounded threatening, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I didn't say anything, but he laughed and asked if we wanted to see some real Disney magic.
God.
I told him a firm no, and we pushed past him and made our way to the ride we were going to. I asked one of the staff working there about him, but they just looked at me like I was insane. The creepiest part is that the next day I noticed some police officers moving around about the park, chattering. Has anyone else had an encounter with this dirty bat mascot?
Well, hey there, Mick. You want to buy a box of condoms?
I would be morbidly curious to see what the alternate universe version of Disneyland is, where the mascots are replaced by prostitute Mickey characters.
I find it funny. One of the things I find funny is that, with the characters, to make them eerie, they always have them talk, because characters don't talk.
They don't. Not the suited ones.
Except one. I actually do have a story. I got a Disney story.
Okay, here we go. So you did work in costumes for a while.
Yeah. So these Chip and Dale were they were hanging out they had their own meet and greet place, and this kid was being obnoxious. Apparently, my roommate told me this story. She was working with them. And the kid was screaming and yelling and actually pulling on. I don't know if they would kicked him or pull on Chipmunk's tail, doing something not okay. And one of the chipmunks actually turned to him and says, "You better knock that off right now." Direct voice, and my roommate was shocked. The kid cried, apparently, and
good.
And then the mom was like, "I'm sorry, it's okay, honey," and then just left. Didn't believe him though.
Good.
How could have? Because only.
Yeah.
I have a story, actually.
Wait, what?
Secondhand story.
Okay.
This is a weird one. So this is a story Matt Hawley told me, that when he was a kid, he went to Toontown. He saw Roger Rabbit, right? And Roger was just at the end of the meet and greet, so he happened to be standing nearby. And as Roger was walking backstage with his handler, he heard him say under his breath, "Oh, good, I gotta take a shit so bad."
That's why they're only supposed to be out there 15 minutes at a time.
That's true.
Oh.
I'm glad that Cleric wrote this because this is very similar to the idea I was going to write or that I was trying to write for this contest. I didn't because just this last year was insane. But I wanted to write a story about basically a Disney YouTuber who is recounting their experience, like their last one, and then they basically stopped and they just dropped everything. Everyone goes, why'd you stop? And they finally come out and say, okay, basically I was being stalked by Goofy. I couldn't make it scary. I couldn't just get it to work, and then life happened. But this is kind of similar to that, and I like it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
So there's.
I mean, the plausibility of this is a little shaky.
Yeah, no,
it's very shaky. Because in the responses shaky that we're gonna read next, not one of them is like that Disney trivia nerd like us who's like, actually, none of the mascots talk, so you're full of it. Also, Disney security, you would not notice if there were police around because they have their own like system in place, and they are so well camouflaged. I used to work in security and loss prevention, so I make a point of like trying to spot them as a game. So that was a hard sell for me, but.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's one of the couple reasons why I was like not at the top of the list, but it's like still pretty amazing.
I mean, I think it's interesting is like but it does sound like, I mean, I guess one thing you say is like these are not like none of the people here are experts, which is great.
Well, it is Yahoo.
I mean, it's a Yahoo answer, so that's one of the reasons. I'm like, it's not completely. Memory. It's not completely like believability destroying.
Should we do the answers really quick?
Let's do the answers. Who wants to take what?
I want to be Jamie.
You want to do Jamie?
Jamie.
Jamie.
And then there's.
I'll take Stacy C because that's a short one.
I'll take Exonomnius 9696.
So Abby can finish it.
Abby finished it with BB Chuck.
BB Chuck.
BB Chuck.
Yeah. BB Chuck. All right, we've now found our characters.
Answers sorted by relevant. Sound pretty weird to me. Disney doesn't have a mascot like that. Question mark. Hope you talked to the police at least. Would have made sense if you found some weird mascot wandering around.
This is
posted 22 hours ago. 3 likes.
That actually sounds like what?
Jamie will not rest until you get pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Did you get pictures of that mascot?
Did you get pictures of that mascot on my desk right now, Parker?
I've heard about some of the weird stuff in the parks before, but never a rogue mascot. Sounds pretty fishy if you ask me, but hey, at least you made it out alive. Disneyland especially can be a death trap, and you're lucky no one got hurt. Do you know how little care goes into those places?
Question mark.
One day.
How is Disneyland a death trap?
I don't know because
it's famously not.
Because people have died there before.
But like stretch. No less than most other places. So
I do like I do like how this comment got 6 dislikes, by the way.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I like that.
I guess people didn't like it being listed as a death trap.
And do you know how little care goes into this?
I'm like the place where they power wash the streets every single night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Oh man. Sounds. This is Stacy C. Sounds to me like some kind of weirdo with a mental problem.
And that got 2 likes.
Hear now the good word of BB Chuck 3771. Oh, July of this year? You should know that I work at somewhere nearby. One of my friends is a cop. My dad owns a dealership. They were telling me that some kids had gotten away from their parents and had gone missing. I don't think they ever found them. Want to know the freakiest part? I didn't realize it at the time, but they said there was some guy that had been hanging around the park wearing a costume like he belonged. staff knew about it and didn't want to do anything because having a mascot beheaded in front of a crowd or escorted out by the police would have made the park look bad. Based on your posting, the park staff literally let some kids get taken just to preserve their reputation. Can you believe how freaking insane this world is? I also don't believe that.
Yeah.
Like, how would he get in?
Yeah, he would. Security would immediately be like, yeah, you're not getting in here at all, bub.
Because there's no way he's going to, like, scale a wall or get some back entrance in a mascot costume, like, on top of that.
Yeah.
So there's no way he would have made it in through the front.
I mean, unless he's got connections with park security somehow, like, that's a pretty big leap.
This is a stretch for sure.
Yeah. I mostly love this story because of the formatting, though, honestly.
The format, that's a great twist. Children abduction at a park, like, it's solid, but
It's been done before, but I think one of the reasons this is almost gets away with it is because it's like a Yahoo Answers, and they do kind of talk like this. They do. It's not
question mark, question mark, question mark.
Like, there have been some dumb answers. Like you and have I've.
Oh yeah.
Dumb Yahoo
considering
answers.
the podcast I was referencing earlier, yes, there are some dumb answers.
Here's my question, Cleric. We have a back character. Why did you not make it look like the back character from The Great Mouse Detective?
I had the same thought too.
Because then at that point, like, at least it would be a modicum of other staff going, oh, that's a mascot now. Huh, I must have missed that memo. But, like, they would recognize the character.
Yeah.
So
there's something to be said because, like, recently it's always you see videos on YouTube and other places about, like, hey, look at these weird mascot costumes that are kind of being pulled out of obscurity recently. Like, look, there's the Country Bears. Look, there's I don't know, what's another obscure character you don't see? There's Baloo,
There's Prince John.
There's Prince John. It's like the mascots that exist, but you don't, or the characters that exist, but you don't see them that often.
You could, if you're gonna do a Yahoo Answers, there's got to be at least someone that says it's not mascot, it's character.
But maybe not.
I mean, it doesn't have to, but like, there's that part of me that's like, someone needs to say the word character.
People who care this much probably aren't on this website.
There should be at least like one troll answer.
Yeah.
No, they're busy haunting wiki pages, editing and putting in inane details that don't need to be there. If anyone's read my doorlesschambers.com forum story, there's a character in there who is a forum poster that's very much inspired by a real life person I ran across who edits a Disney wiki and adds the most inane, pointless details. Anyway. Well done, Cleric. I enjoyed this. I like. Props to you for going the extra mile of making it stylistically very cool.
It looks like it. Like,
it really does.
I'm
thinking outside the box.
Yes.
All right. Next is Seid's "Why I Hate Working Alone at Night in Tomorrowland" by Katie Wiykovics.
And that was my impression of Kaela saying the title. What do you think?
That's amazing.
That was spot on.
I know. Wow. It's kind of frightening.
Holy shit. For a second, I thought, wait, where's my wife?
I suddenly disappeared.
There was a complete stranger sitting next to me in a bat costume holding Gracie in her lap.
How should we do the order for this?
Oh, that's a good choice. That's a good question. Hey, Seid, do you want to start?
Okay, that works too.
Yeah.
And then go alphabetically from there, because that's what we were doing with Alan, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
So that would be Abby, you, me, and then Seid.
Sure. And then we're back around to Seid, because Seid's starting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vroom, vroom!
Often you do not know places, especially their past. Sometimes you may have worked there for a while. Other times you're just passing by, but often we do not know what has happened in the places we work, live, and play in. How much blood was once pooled under where our feet stand. Tragedies, in my experience, are things we tend to forget, and forgetting is how we get into these messes. My boss didn't tell me about what happened in at that place until it was too late. I would be angry, but I understand. No one wants to scare away the new cast members.
Okay. Ominous opening.
Ominous opening. Right off the bat, a little bit like this is how you open a creepypasta. Which is not necessarily a dig, but kind of a little bit.
There's always that danger with front loading.
Yeah. But it has restraint, but like, you know.
It didn't front load in the title, thankfully.
Yeah.
Very much. It's just, this is why I don't like working alone. Okay, it could be a billion things.
I do very much enjoy your commentary about various no-sleep titles, though, that I see every so often.
Yeah.
Part of me considers making an alt account just devoted to that, but I don't care. I do it like when I'm on break at work.
That's fair.
And so I actually had somebody contact me and be like, man, this is my first story. Go easy on it. I'm like, I didn't talk about the story, dude. I just said the title was dumb. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Because it's a no sleep title.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
It all started when I got hired to work at what I thought was the best place in Tomorrowland Star Wars launch bay. All that Star Wars memorabilia, constantly seeing stormtroopers around me and watching excited people run in to ogle at everything. Sure, I was a glorified museum guard/guest greeter, but I was going to be at one of the most popular and brand new areas of the park. Yet, as the first few days wore on, the allure started to die off. Between the large crowds of screaming little kids demanding that they see either Chewie or Kylo Ren, the teens whining about how lame everything was, seriously, who raised these brats, and the same dumb questions day in and day out, my dream job was turning into a nightmare fast. How many people actually think working as like low-level employee at Disney is a dream job?
You'd be surprised.
I asked because I've never worked there, and I know that some of us have.
Yeah, there is some people who absolutely adore their job. I've known people, like, one of the creepiest things, at least in Florida, was a lot of Disney CPs or college program people dropped out of college just so they could continue working at Disneyland. I was shocked how that actually happened, not just like once, but like many times. And I actually have friends who still work there, and they like, oh, I did that too.
Eesh.
I'm like,
okay.
Oh, wow, that's
dumb.
Yeah, and they do. They end up, a lot of them end up working there for like years and years, and they kind of get stuck there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like unless you're moving into management or something, there's no upward mobility.
They probably inhaled too much of that Disney gas from that last story.
Hey.
They're living in, like, we have the decency to like actually be away from the Smellitzers for a little while. not the cast members.
They're really getting into.
We have the freedom of movement. They don't.
But it depends on also a lot of people who start out on their first day. It was like their first few weeks are like, this is awesome, I'm at the best place ever, and then it starts to wear down and then becomes okay.
I wanted to make a joke about the reason that our pro tag is so annoyed is because they're like have kids screaming for Chewie and Kylo Ren, and then pro tag is like, but Darth Vader's like right over there, and the kids go, who?
Oh.
Was he in the new movies? That's all we've seen.
No, he was. He was in
Rogue One.
He was in Rogue One.
Briefly.
Oh, good point.
Like, very briefly, but like he had the most badass part in that movie.
Yeah, it's fair.
Of the fanfic that is Rogue One, he was the most fanfic.
Yeah.
He certainly was. To be fair, I personally enjoyed the fanfic, fully not realizing it was a fanfic.
I mean, I say that because that's what the movie feels like to me, and I think that's a fair assessment.
It's a pretty fair assessment. I haven't seen Solo, by the way.
I haven't either.
So I don't know what to make of that one, but
I would say that Solo is a better constructed film than Rogue One, but Rogue One is more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
Solo,
I liked Rogue One more, but I didn't hate Solo either. Also, I just had a huge crush on Infest Nest.
It's like, if Solo wasn't about Han Solo, it could just be a part of the expanded universe, and I would believe it.
I'd like more of that, please.
Make
like
a
more
little
disconnected expanded universe stuff.
Yeah, if you made a couple tweaks, it would actually be like a fun Star Wars movie that doesn't need to be connected to anything, but neither here nor there.
Hey, who else is really, really excited for The Mandalorian?
No.
I am stupidly excited.
I'm a jaded cynic, so don't listen to me.
Hey, let me know how it is, because I don't. You'd think we would get Disney Plus because of the other podcast we do, but we don't.
Well, no, it hasn't even opened yet.
Right. But
Yeah,
I'm saying
we
we still
still have
haven't
2
gotten
days.
it. I don't know if we're going to.
I'm debating.
I'm very leery about giving money to Disney in any capacity right now. Just being real.
Yeah.
And yet we're doing a Disney creepypasta.
Yeah, but this isn't giving money to Disney.
I know.
In fact, a lot of these stories are digs at Disney. Like this one.
Aren't all of them?
Not
So
all of them.
far.
Was David?
A Shitty Vacation was certainly. Oi, Babyface! It was the end of a long day, and I didn't mind the nickname so much as Jackie, my boss, yelled at me. Your turn to lock the place up.
No. Oi, Babyface.
Oi, Babyface!
There needs to be an accent here.
Oi! Your turn to lock the place up. I'm gonna make sure the guests leave, smoke them out.
I read that in a 40s gangster.
Oi, Babyface.
Yeah.
Turn to lock the place up, see? Make sure they don't get the stash.
Smoke them out.
Smoke them out.
I like this idea that Jackie is this. Well, Jackie can be male or female.
Yeah.
I rubbed my hairless chin as I nodded. I never had to worry about violating that part of the Disney look. I had my male pattern baldness on my face instead of the top of my head. Made me look,
I wish I had that problem.
made me look way too young to handle anything. Hence the nickname that developed as Jackie used them for new cast members as a bit of fun hazing. I've never seen this happen, but I mean, I know like in other jobs people do this.
This is at Disneyland, so maybe.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose it could have been worse, but as she tossed me the keys, I was greeted by the usual guests that always showed up at this time.
I'm sorry, we're on Seid's paragraph.
Yes. Seid's very long paragraph.
Mhm.
Wait, which one is it?
What?
It's-
What?
What?
What was it?
What?
What?
It's closing?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was looking for like the longest paragraph. Like it doesn't start with that.
I was sarcasm.
What? It's closing, but the park is open until.
Star Wars Launch Bay closes at 8 p.m., I responded automatically with a cheery smile. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but it has different hours than the park.
I'm so sorry. I almost laughed because it started to sound like Star Wars Launch Bay closes at 8 p.m.
Star Wars Launch Bay is the worst attraction because it closes at 8 p.m.
Actually, you're next, David, so like, you could...
Oh, well, this is fucking bullshit. He grumbled as he walked away. Or wheeled away. His friends following after. Damn Star Wars nerds always trying to sneak in after closing. Sure, I was one of them, but I did it proper by getting a job here.
Wow.
Such a higher than thou.
I gotta hand it. I already like our pro tag.
Mm-hmm.
Babyface.
After I locked the doors, I gave a quick sigh as I went through the mental lockup routine. Oh,
I had to give a quick sigh because they don't pay me for long sighs.
Yeah. Mental lockup routine. Give the area a final sweep to look for a hiding guests.
Hidden guests.
Yeah,
Crouching tiger, hidden guests.
Or lost items. Make notes of anything that might have been damaged for maintenance, and note any major messes for the custodians. It was simple enough, and I got some time alone. After a long day around people, I needed the break. It was then, as I was passing the main entrance, I heard it.
Wait.
Sorry, I forgot what the order was. It's me now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once again.
The longest paragraph.
Yes.
Be careful.
Beautiful.
Terrible.
Actually, I'm shaking in my bones right now. Oh my God.
Holy shit. My hair's standing on end.
I just pissed myself. That was so scary.
No one can deliver a line like Seid.
Yes.
Just oh my god, what is that? Is that an Academy Award descending from the ceiling?
I hate you guys.
We love
Heart.
all the hearts.
It was a woman's voice, not Jackie's, but someone else. Someone quieter. Yeah, that's true.
Who's there? I asked. Who's there? I asked. This area is closed for the evening.
What was that voice?
I was thinking of the turrets from Portal. Who's there?
Oh, okay.
There you are.
No response. I looked around, unnerved and keeping my eyes open for her. Found a lost hat and a few other things, but as I looked around the building, I didn't find anybody. I thought Jackie cleared the place, so why would I need to be careful? I tried not to let it go to get me. I tried not to let it get to me.
But I'm just going Crete. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece.
But as I finished the last of my rounds, I was on edge. I needed to get my shift done and get out of there.
A horrific scream from the launch bay entrance made me jump in shock as I dashed over there, dodging all the display cases. That was all one. Sorry. It sounded painful, like someone got stabbed or something. By the time I made it to the front, I was winded and looked ahead of me. Her hair was long, blonde like mine, with what looked to be an older style of the cast member costume. I'm replacing words.
That's fine.
Yeah, of the cast member costume. It was red and white. It was a red and white top with blue pants, but what struck me was how young she looked. I looked young, but she looked like a kid. She seemed heartbroken, like something had happened that left her completely devastated at the happiest place on earth. She looked up at me, smiled with a look that made me want to cry, and vanished into thin air. I proceeded to book it, forgetting to turn off the lights at that point. I didn't care. But at that point, I didn't care.
The one thing that is kind of awkward is like her hair was long, blonde like mine. And I know it's just blonde like mine, because clearly this guy is working at Disneyland. His hair would not be long, I can assure you of that.
Yeah.
Disney's kind of picky about that stuff.
I heard they're getting a little more lenient about it, at least with facial hair.
They are.
Yeah.
Like my friend went from like completely clean shaven to he wears a beard like 24/7 now.
Now it's me.
Yep.
All I cared about was getting to the break area. The fuck was that? What was she doing? Who was she? I had 1,000 questions, but as I spotted Jackie, she gave me a concerned look.
So I remember Jackie being a woman, and this just makes it hilarious that this 1940s gangster woman.
Hey, Jesus! Jackie remarked as she stared.
He's back.
He has risen.
Jesus is king, Kanye West. Jackie remarked as she stared, as did a few of the others in the break room at my sudden appearance. What happened?
Launch base haunted.
Call Zach Baggins.
Could it be the ghost of this young girl still haunts the Star Wars launch bay, even though it just opened up?
Every story that you guys have read for this contest could be fodder for Zach Baggins at Disney. All of them. God.
Could it be a smelly bat costume managed to make its way into the park?
Woman.
Has the Disney Corporation been putting weird chemicals into the air? He says through his gas mask.
I'm afraid.
This is the only
normally
time...
now who's laughing now?
Yeah,
corporate sheep.
Woman in the launch bay. I managed to blurt out exhaustedly. I heard a whisper, then a scream, and woman in the launch bay disappeared.
It started with a whisper.
I Shatnered that really well.
That was great.
I was gonna say that's. Oh, sorry, my turn.
Yeah.
Whoa, slow your roll.
Slow your...
Jackie remarked as she gestured for me to take a seat. You said you saw a woman? What did she look like?
So, again, further confirms Jackie is a 1940s gangster woman.
Yeah.
Whoa, slow your roll there, doll face. It has a cigar in her mouth.
I'm going to picture it that way from now on.
We got something going on here, say?
Is it me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Young, blonde hair, haunted, I said, shaking slightly as I felt the adrenaline kicking in.
As I thought. Jackie gave me a knowing look. You ran into Debbie.
Debbie?
Good old deceased Debbie.
Yeah, right.
Dead Debbie.
That's what they nicknamed her. Dead Debbie.
She's deceased Debbie, but dead Debbie to her friends.
Damn.
Deceased Deborah.
Is her full name.
Is her
but
full
just dead
name
Debbie for her.
Deceased Deborah is my mother's name. Call me Dead Debbie.
I prefer.
But never call her decomposed Deborah. That's just rude.
And not Dee Dee. I never Dee Dee. For Christ's sake.
Years ago, a little over 30, in fact, she started her story as the other cast members gathered close out of curiosity. Debbie Stone was a new hire like you, working on the America Sings ride. See?
See? Yeah, she?
Yeah, see?
Yeah, she?
Feature David, can you put in some 1940s noir music in here?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I feel like I shouldn't be the one reading that then.
No,
I can't
please
do it.
No.
The
Keep
40s
going.
music will pick up any of this. Don't worry.
See, the building we're in used to have a rotating theater, and back during the bicentennial, it had an all-American animatronic animals singing American songs and all of that, and she was the one greeting guests at the start of the show. Well, there was a problem with the design. The previous ride in the building rotated clockwise, so the building was designed so that the hard, stationary walls would be behind the rotating ones. She moved one finger in a circle to be the rotating wall and kept another still to demonstrate. They changed it to counterclockwise for America Sings, so the cast members would have a rotating wall coming toward them. No one knows exactly what happened for Debbie to get in the way, but she was crushed. She let the two fingers collide, her gaze looking without word.
Was this the moment where you were like, yeah, I dig this story?
Yes.
I remember. Oh, sorry.
Pretty much.
Me. My bad.
Yeah, because it was this is Debbie Stone. That was her actual name.
Yeah.
And it is one of the well-known gruesome deaths that you obviously Disney can't cover up. And
yeah,
I'll get to the rest of the reasons why I like it after the story.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There was a dead silence as Jackie took a breath. I noticed others were coming into the room to listen, and some looked like they had heard this story before and kept their heads low out of respect for the dead.
Wait, others? What others?
They're in a break room with other cast members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were by themselves. I was like, who are
And then
these
suddenly
people?
several other ghosts of dead Disney park employees and guests appeared. There was the crying boy from the Haunted Mansion. There was the guy who got hurt on Big Thunder Mountain.
See,
this
is ghostly.
Died on Big Thunder Mountain. There was...
Over here we got a ghostly Gina. Over there is
There's Walt Disney.
There's Walt Disney's head.
Just his head.
Just the head.
By the way, I was cremated, but not my head. So I just haunt this place. Just my head.
Oh, awesome. I get to do...
I like to haunt the House of Illusions, or what do we call that show again? The haunted... The Museum of the Weird.
I get to do a 1940s gangster voice now.
Oh, wait, is it? But I think it might be around to me, though.
Oh, it's you. You get to do a 1940s gangster voice.
She was only 18, according to the Orbits. She had just asked her parent, according to the Obits? Oh, Obits. Oh, that's why.
Oh, like
obituary, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that just...
She was only 18, according to the Obits. She had just asked her parents for permission to marry a sweetheart, and she was going to start college in the fall. Jackie looked at me with a moment of sincerity. Guy, I know you get spooked, but she doesn't hurt anyone. She's just stuck here, and she'll keep an eye out for you. Debbie warns us to be careful for a reason. She doesn't want us getting hurt like she did, capiche?
Well, that doesn't work very well, because she screamed and the kid ran to her. So if she's trying to say, stay away, danger, then kind of the opposite.
They don't even do the other thing too is they don't even do the rotating wall at Launch Bay. They did have the rotating wall when it was Interventions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But not now, anyway.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. The fact Jackie called me by my name gave me pause. Oh, our protag's name is Guy.
Guybrush Threepwood.
I'm Guybrush. Oh my god, and he's blonde.
Yes.
Long blonde hair like me. It's okay, headcanon. It's Guybrush Threepwood working at Disney. And he's working in a Star Wars themed area. Monkey Island was a LucasArts adventure game.
Oh my
Boom.
god.
Boom.
Damn.
What a conspiracy.
Absolute headcanon accepted. Guybrush Threepwood, mighty pirate. You'd think he would be happier working on Pirates of the Caribbean.
David King, conspiracy theorist.
David King should keep reading this paragraph. The fact that Jackie called me by my name, Guybrush Threepwood, gave me pause. I thought she had forgotten it despite our name tags. I nodded and she gave me a smile. Right, I'll go double check things out there. Clock out for the night. I will take care of corporate for you if they try to give you points for leaving early.
That actually is a real thing.
Yeah, they don't dock points; they give points.
No,
wasn't it?
Like golf.
No. They give you like you get points. That points are how they keep track of like how badly you're doing, and that includes like being late or leaving early. You can, I forgot, it was like 3 points lead to like 1 big mark, and then if you get 3 marks, you're fired.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Huh.
It's been a while, but this might have changed. I don't know, but like it's true. They do have a point system.
Interesting. Yeah, I do remember that. So yeah, the author did their research.
Oh yeah, this is actually.
They did a research.
On the bus ride back to my apartment, my head was swimming. I could scarcely imagine a death so gruesome, much less that I was working in the building where it happened. How many times had I walked on the exact spot where she died? If I had time traveled 30 years back, would I be standing in the pool of blood? It haunted me all night, as disturbing thoughts should.
And that's when I contacted Ghost Adventures.
Oh, God.
It took me a while to be comfortable working in the front again. Jackie gave me sympathy and moved me to a different spot until I could cope. She even stopped calling me babyface full time. I became okay with it eventually, but that's not why I'm writing this. Oh.
It was the middle of the day, and I was working the front, greeting guests with a Disney smile as usual. It was there that I felt a cold chill run up my spine as Debbie whispered into my ear.
Where do I stand now? Everything is different than what I remember.
This is better than I remembered reading it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah, this is really good.
It's very much a Disney ghost story, but I think it's well done.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like it, because I was like, this is just your standard ghost story. It's well researched, so and it I liked it. I don't like the title very much.
It's not a good title. It really isn't.
But titles can be difficult.
You should call it A Mighty Pirate Works at Star Wars.
Yeah.
No, this is good. I do like this one quite a bit. And again, it's not trying to be overtly scary. It's just a cool little, like you said, it's a cool ghost story, and it's plausible enough, Mm-hmm. I do like the last line. It's kind of cute in a weird way.
It is cute. It's
Debbie's looking out for people. She's a good ghost.
But there's kind of a melancholy sort of.
It's a melancholy, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because that's like, I think that as far as I know, and I had to do my research, because I wrote the stories I did.
Yes.
She's, I think, maybe one of the most gruesome deaths, apart from, say, the person who was run over by the monorail.
Oh,
that one's really bad. And then the one who was crushed by the caboose of the
train in for Big Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder Mountain.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then of course there were the 2 people who were dragged under the people mover.
Oh, yeah. Those are some gruesome deaths.
There are some particularly gruesome deaths.
See, that was just false advertising. They meant to say it was a people mower.
Ah. In my personal opinion, I do think Debbie's is the most horrific, because I mean she was basically slowly crushed to death between the revolving wall.
She was so
and
young.
like she was screaming while guests were still on the ride, and no one heard her because of the music.
Oh my God. Like that again. What a horror.
Why even reverse the order of the theater's rotation? Like that doesn't seem, it seemed like, okay, it's bad luck to go counterclockwise anyway. That's Widdershins. So like you knew that, like they should have known that when they were turning it clockwise, not just a safety hazard, but bad luck was going to follow them.
I think it might have been, it was probably just like something that someone didn't pay attention to and like reconstructing it.
Yeah.
Or just in the, because they had moved it. They moved it from Florida, right? To
No, because it started.
No, you're right.
It was they moved it from the World's Fair. It was
That's right.
It was developed for that. So then I'm glad we still have it in Florida. Well, not America Sings, but the Carousel of Progress, which does turn clockwise, by the way.
Yes.
No one getting crushed to death in that theater.
No, God, no.
But yeah, that was, and remind me that was Katie.
That is Katie Wiykovics. That's
Katie. Thank you for sharing that story with us. That was great.
It is really good. Like that's
sorry you weren't in like the winner circle, but you're definitely in the top, our like you're in our hearts.
And not
your
only
stories in our hearts.
You were in my top 3.
Yeah, you're in my top 5.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for? Should we do Kayla's?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mine.
I don't think I'm ready for this one.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna put this out there right now, maybe not to front load too much, but I have a feeling. Abby's gonna get a kick out of this.
I
one.
think so too. Jeez.
I'll let
The
you
land
introduce.
of mice.
I don't.
Yeah.
The less I say, I think the better.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But this is the land of mice.
This is The Land of Mice by Talos Horror. So.
Oh,
Yeah,
Talos.
Talos
Yeah,
wrote this one.
we Talos is another familiar face for us. So this is
Talos
good.
releases yearly, they write their own stories and they narrate them. And
Yeah.
I don't know if this year's has come out yet, but last year there was some really, really good ones. So I'm excited for this now.
I dig Talos' stuff. So this one's in there for me too. Why don't we keep the same kind of order that we did for the last one, but Kayla can start this one.
All right.
Okay.
Disney has always brought me comfort. As an Anaheim local, I've been to Disneyland many times growing up. I was the girl with the princess dresses who knew all the songs by heart. Ariel was my favorite because she had red hair like mine. My parents have a picture of the time when naked 6-year-old me tried to make a little bra out of shells. First dates were hell.
Immediately endeared to the...
Yeah, that is such an endearing thing.
And all this is very relatable and believable.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Immediately.
Man. So... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's not me.
Seid. That'd be Seid. Yes.
That'd be Seid.
So when Justin and I hit the end of our rope after a year of trying to conceive, we went.
This time I had an eye for an oddity I'd read about on Vice, the cats.
Dun, dun, dun. I looked for hidden Mickeys, but I'd never looked for cats. Some say Walt himself released the first generation of feral felines into Disneyland as early as 1955. Today there are almost 200. Staff veterinarians feed, spay, and keep them healthy and clean, all to keep rats out of the House of Mouse.
This is actually true.
Mm-hmm.
Bitchin'.
They got their own Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a story.
Oh, I should follow that. Why don't I follow
Catstagram.
Why don't I follow it?
Yeah. What's the Instagram?
I don't know. We'll find it.
Promote that Instagram.
Promote the...
on our show about where we're trying not to promote Disney, but are still kind of promoting Disney. But no, Catstagram's different. Disney Catstagram. There's actually a story from the, I'm paraphrasing, but that when they first went into Sleeping Beauty
I found
Castle.
It's called Disneyland Cats. All one word. Cats of Disneyland.
That's easy
is
enough
the
to
title.
remember.
Yes.
They were introduced in the 1950s because for a while they were all living inside the hollow shell of Sleeping Beauty Castle, and they had to be cleared out because they were going to make the walkthrough. So when the cats got cleared out, and by the way, they were all like taken care of, and they weren't like euthanized or anything. Walt was immediately like, no, we're going to make sure that they're like, you know, cleaned up and fixed and given either adopted out or kept on property. But it wasn't so much the cats that were the problem as the extreme amount of fleas that were living in there too. To the point where the two other people who were with Walt, their suits turned gray.
Ooh.
Ew.
I'm paraphrasing, but there's a whole kind of funny story about what happened in this situation that the people who were with Walt related. But yeah, it's creepy like that. But yeah, keeping rats out of the House of Mouse. So I think it's back around to you.
My first sighting was in the It's a Small World queue. Ever since Justin got back from Afghanistan, he's let me go on anything intense on my own, but Small World was our jam. It had become a safe haven. It's
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's interesting how like small phrases just like that.
We already know so much about the character just from little ways. We know that
like
her and her husband are trying to conceive, and that he's
probably got PTSD.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like, I feel like this is one of the reasons I like this too. I mean, there's another reason which that you'll see soon, is the fact that it actually incorporates exposition naturally into what's going on.
Yeah. This is
I'm surprised not many people can do that well. So
I think it's me.
Yes.
Yes.
We stood in line, avoiding looking at the happy families, when I saw a little tabby crouched by an overpriced churro cart. Mesmerized, I watched him clean his paws until it occurred to me to take a picture. When I reached for my phone, the cat made eye contact with me in that odd, cold way they do. It held my gaze for a heartbeat, turned, and disappeared behind the cart.
After a few more rides, some together, some with Justin waiting at the exit, we'd worked up an appetite.
I talked cats over lunch. The one I'd seen, the one in the article, the blog dedicated to cataloging names and photos of each one. They were like unofficial Disney mascots.
They kind of are, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Justin nursed his coke, half listening. He'd been distant lately. He dealt with stress differently. Some people cope by sharing, and some prefer to suffer in silence.
He lifted his drink, fumbled, spilled it all over his goofy t-shirt.
Gosh. No, the real word is whoa. No, sorry. The real word is maxi. No, the real word is shit.
The real word is fuck.
Fuck.
The people say that Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be the darkest they've ever.
Mickey says fuck.
Let Goofy say a swear. Damn it.
What Goofy Ding Dong look like? Then demurely, I told you we should wait to until. Oh, that's a typo. That's fine. I told you we should wait until after my prosthetic fitting.
This was before he got his full hand prosthetic. He still had a hook at the time. His disability only added to the stress in the air. Justin had come back from Afghanistan broken and dreaming strange dreams. He bottled it up, especially for the first few months, but I've gathered some details. His squad had been on regular patrol when an IED blew up their Humvee and took his hand with it. The other guys weren't so lucky.
Yeah.
Space Mountain today, he whispered.
I'm ready.
I didn't. I'm ready.
Always ready for Space Mountain.
Yes.
Oh, Justin, if I can do Space Mountain, you can do Space Mountain.
Yeah.
Actually, I was very proud of Abby on our last Disney trip because he was like, I didn't know you were afraid of roller coasters.
To be completely fair, so am I. So like, Abby and I are like coaster buddies, or not
like
coaster
haunts,
buddies.
We don't like coasters.
Yeah, we don't like them. I don't want to go upside down.
So similar. Basically, it's like what's Abby and David friendly.
Yeah, to be fair, I think that if I can conquer the Disneyland mountain range and enjoy them, then it's a fair shake that Abby can't too, and he did.
Yeah.
So excellent. I didn't know what to say, and I guess I thought about it too long.
Before you say it. This is about the baby. It's not. This is something I have to do, he said roughly.
Okay, was all I could manage. I knew this was about the baby and his hand. Everything was.
Let's do it.
Abby's has the best
He
phrases.
gets, it's really good.
I feel...
Everything was about making a baby. We came to Disneyland hoping we could get on one of the dark rides and
get it on.
Well, Sonny, you were conceived on Space Mountain. You got thrown out.
I mean, to be fair, people have claimed. I mean, we talked about last time how you said you knew someone who had sex on the monorail at Walt Disney World.
I will not say who.
You won't divulge who, which is absolutely the right thing to do.
But yes,
there have been people who have claimed though that they've had sex on Pirates of the Caribbean, and I go, how?
I mean, you could do it, but
yeah.
I mean, if you had the boat to yourself.
If you had the boat to yourself, if you were pretty much ready to go, like in line and upon boarding, and hiding your boner pretty damn well, you could do it.
You'd have to you'd have to start right after you get past the Blue Bayou, or else things are going to be awkward.
I've heard that. Yeah. I've heard couples have.
It becomes dinner and a show.
I'm doing it for the baby.
Dead men tell no. My God, that's inappropriate.
The skull and crossbones, like, no, seriously, I've seen some shit in my time. I'm a talking skull, but fuck.
I actually got something worse. So I know there are couples, and I've heard this before, that there are couples who have had sex on It's a Small World.
I can't think of a worse place to have sex.
How?
Well,
yeah.
At least on Pirates there. Well, okay, I can't. Pirates is pretty bad too because you like.
Well, think of.
I don't know if it's between the skeletons. Oh, look, boners, or like the wench auction that used to be there.
You got Jack Sparrow fucking looking at you.
Yeah. I can't think of anything worse than trying to do it while Johnny Depp watches you from a barrel.
Why not a bunch of doll kids with like eyes staring at you singing "It's a Small World"? I bet that's quite the turn on.
You want to like ruin sex for yourself forever?
There's so much that we share.
And staring dead-eyed into your... You're like...
It's a sin in the eyes of God. It's a sin.
We're taking what's been a pretty competent story so far, just going. Well, it's
No. The story is great so far.
Yeah,
This is a dumbass tangent.
This is what happens.
I love this, but this is what we do. Before he shipped, Justin promised two things. This would be his last tour, and when he got back home, not if, when, he insisted, we'd start a family. His depression since he'd gotten back had hinged on that latter promise. He felt less than a man. He'd had to relearn everything. And regardless of how often I'd assured him I wasn't going anywhere, I knew he felt he was losing me. I wasn't desperate for a baby, but I was desperate to start a family with the man I loved so I could get him back.
Damn, story.
This is heavy. I love this.
It is. This is why
Got the feels right now.
Right?
Damn.
Leaning my head on Justin's shoulder in line for Space Mountain, I sighed my next... sighed my next cat. I sighed it.
I emitted a cat from my sinuses and it formed in front of me.
Had to. Oh, look, a kitten.
I just vomited up a live mouse. What is this, Mystics of Bali?
I sighted my next cat about 100 feet off. Look, babe, I half whispered. Fuck. I cannot talk, apparently.
Sorry, none of us can.
And he turned.
I recognize that one from the blog. Bernice, maybe? What's in her mouth?
A rat. A bloody, twitching dead rat.
Yummy. I grimaced. Justin chuckled. At least she's doing her job.
That's true.
Yep. You have just seen Bernice, the chief mouser of Disneyland.
Muse, but a lion roar comes out.
Wait, did you just say... Who talked? Who
read?
David's next.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I just read she's doing her job, so it's you again.
Oh, yeah, these short paragraphs.
They're nice.
Yeah, it's
good.
Justin handled Space Mountain surprisingly well. I wanted to say so, but wasn't sure how he'd take it, so I just asked if he'd like to go again.
Sure, just gotta take a piss first.
My charming husband.
Justin headed for the facilities while I sat on a park bench. Nearby was another cat. This one huge, pregnant, carrying a bloody mouse. She made cold eye contact, turned, and limped away.
I don't know why I followed her. Maybe I planned on cornering her and finding a staff member to examine the limp. Maybe I was jealous. She didn't need help from a doctor to make kittens. It just happened. I don't know, and I never will.
Damn!
Yeah, I know. Like, jeez.
This is such a tightly written story.
It is. It's all throughout, like, it's still telling a story. We're still following it in, like, it's clearly past tense, but, like, we're following it in time. But as we follow it, we're learning details and getting, like, insight. It's great.
Yeah.
As we passed dried trees and screaming kids, the cat looked back several times. The mouse a little more shredded each time when she stopped to readjust her grip. She wanted to be followed.
We eventually passed between two nondescript buildings, probably meant only for cast members, and into a meadow. I've looked at maps of the park since, and I can't make sense of the geography here. There is a large growth of trees to the south of Tomorrowland, but I can't say with certainty that that's where we were. Even if that's so, I've never noticed a clearing.
The sun in the meadow was brighter than it had been in the park. Harsh. It was hot here, and a pervasive smell tainted the air. A deep, spicy herbal smell with a hint of mint. It was hard to tell what I was looking at in the bright light, but the ground appeared to be moving.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Walt Disney.
Hey, Walt's frozen head here. Remember, be nice to the cats or I'll kill you.
Walt's head just floats over.
Walt's head just comes flying through the air toward you.
Just smacks you away. Like,
I thought he was going to bite me. No, I'm not.
We need a hologram projection of Walt's head reminding all park goers of the rules constantly on Main Street.
Oh my god.
Or in Tomorrowland.
If you see a bat mascot, tell him to leave.
Tell him to fuck off.
If you smoke out in this area, I will send Goofy to break your kneecaps.
Oh my god! Which is surprising.
I'm going to make your life a living nightmare.
This will no longer be the happiest place on Earth.
Not for you, at least, if you don't follow the rules. Uncle Walt says so.
My feline friend dropped her offering at the edge of the clearing and lowered her ears, her tail, and her ears, her tail, and backed away.
How long did I stand there waiting for my eyes to adjust to the blinding light? Why did I? I didn't really know, but I knew I was supposed to be there. I felt like a doll in It's a Small World, moving on track and saying my lines without agency.
The smell intensified. There was a horrible buzzing, and I clenched my eyes shut instinctively. The buzz raised in volume and lowered in pitch. Through my eyelids, I perceived that it was suddenly very dark. I slowly opened one eye, then the other. The ground, which had appeared to be moving, was crawling with cats. Okay.
This is when you start to realize, oh, yeah, the Kaela-ness. This may have appealed to me for this reason.
I had a sense that something was looking at me from the darkness. It was staring into my soul, despite the impossibility of eye contact. The smell was overpowering. My eyes and nose watered. I trembled and fell to my knees.
When I say I heard a voice, I don't think that word does justice to it. It was like water, low and rumbling, a sound beneath all other sounds.
Your name.
I'm not sure he was speaking English, but I understood. Ashley Sims?
Your true name?
A sequence of syllables poured involuntarily from my mouth. It was throaty and gave me chills.
A purr.
I'm just... Okay, damn. Oh, boy.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still like, what the fuck? But for me, I'm like, oh man, what the fuck?
It's about to get very sexy.
This is badass so far.
Yeah, right?
Good, you may look upon me.
My eyes had adjusted to the darkness, and I focused.
I saw a beautiful young woman in a sheer, shapeless robe and some kind of headdress. She shimmered and shifted like a pearl or a holographic image.
No, it was just Walt's frozen head. You just couldn't see it very well. Holographic head. Hey, you shouldn't be backstage bothering the cats. I'm going to send Goofy to break your kneecaps.
When she turned to acknowledge me, she was replaced by a great black cat of the same height. She raised her paws, and they became the hands of an old woman. The face was that of a hunched old crone. I squinted, thinking I'd see all three images superimposed on each other.
Yes.
But all I saw was a colorless, lifeless void. I didn't want to see it, but I couldn't look away.
Yep, this appeals to Abby and I, because we're like, the surrealism is awesome. Like...
I have no idea where it's going, but it's very cool.
I know, this is what got me to, I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, man.
The only feature that remained constant was the eyes, bright green, slightly reflective with slits for pupils. They saw through my very being.
She saw everything I'd ever done with those eyes. I know because as she showed me, I re-experienced everything. More real than memory. Every skinned knee from childhood, watching and rewatching The Little Mermaid, every high school crush, every date with Justin, our wedding day, the day he shipped out, promising we'd start a family when he got back, the dull days at work knowing I had no one at home, the long nights in the weeks after his return, hearing him awaken screaming every night.
God damn it.
I know,
Oh.
You're killing it, Talos. You're killing it.
Okay, and that's why this story can get away with the surreality, because there's this basis of real people. Whew.
I lived Justin's life too. I saw his loving parents, his dad in the crowd at t-ball games, the pain of the one time he had been absent.
Then came the day he lost his hand, the day that changed everything.
Things had been quiet for weeks, but Commander Litchfield, his CO, thought they'd see action soon. He doubled patrols in the area and half-joked that he'd shoot anyone caught without body armor. The officer had befriended Justin, promoting him to rank just below his own.
In the mess, they talked often about books, movies, and Litchfield's pet subject, ancient history. This quiet, sensitive, paunchy old man was obsessed with Egyptology.
Justin. I like this.
There it is.
Oh boy.
Justin recalled a time he brought up the mummy, the good one with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah!
Just to be clear, in front of Litchfield. That's just not how their magic works, he said. Not worked, past tense, works. He had been stationed in Egypt in the 80s, and it wasn't like that.
The men called him Emotep after that.
Hell yes. The day in question, Litchfield had gathered Justin's patrol to give one of his trademark pep talks. The man read too many old books, they thought, and it showed. Justin had barely listened to the speech that morning. He'd heard it all before. Why could they just get on with it? One particularly forced maxim stuck out, however.
Forces are rallied against us, gentlemen, but greater forces protect us.
What did that mean?
Justin's squad climbed into their Humvee and patrolled a little nearby village. They made it back without incident. Why had Justin lied to his therapist about this? Lied to me.
Ooh.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's you. I'm just like, ooh,
so
because like
engrossed.
this is
I
an
really am. Oh, man,
important paragraph.
Yeah.
It hurt, but the mixed perspective softened the blow. I was Justin as I experienced these things. I was sure I had my reasons.
Litchfield approached me at dinner, invited me into his office. He poured me a drink. Bourbon? He muttered something under his breath, made a strange sign with his hand, and nothing. No memories for a long time. So far, everything I'd seen had been crystal clear, like clearer than Justin's own memories. But here things cut out.
I awoke. Still Justin. Still in Litchfield's office. I was in extreme pain, but I couldn't scream. I couldn't speak. With difficulty, I opened one eye. I saw black candles. Emotep standing over me. Not the goofy little man I knew. The man we made fun of for being more like a professor than a soldier. But Emotep the great priest. He held a dripping bone saw. I blacked out again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh my god.
When I came to, I was back at Litchfield's office, staring at my bloody bandage stump. He told me I was a good soldier, that I'd be honorably discharged, and that he was sorry about the rest of my unit. They died in the blast.
The rest is a flurry, perhaps because Justin has told me this part of the story. He came home, got his hook fitted, spent many nights dreaming of both the real events and, more often, the official story, the Humvee explosion. I don't know what became of his unit, but I'd been friends with some of their wives. They didn't come home.
Oh.
Jeez.
Exhausted from reliving a combined 61 years of our lives, I saw through my own eyes again. The woman spoke.
Flesh has been offered, and the bride of the sacrifice has come to the land of mice. The land set aside for my children. Your faith is rewarded.
Cat snuzzled my pant legs as I turned to leave. I was crying. I tasted vomit.
Nicely done, Gracie.
Well done, Gracie. Okay, you're banished. You're banished to Mom's lap, and you have to stay there forever.
Gracie's just being difficult because there's cats in this story.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But she's a cat herself.
She's basically...
She's got some
Sounded
cat in her.
like a cartoon car, like racing away.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
You silly woman.
I stumbled back to Tomorrowland in a daze. Justin came out of the restroom, more sprightly than usual.
Hey, babe. Want to go again?
And I don't mean Space Mountain.
Oh.
How could I explain what I'd been through? What he'd been through? Did he remember?
He took my silence as a yes, and I somehow had a good time. The mind has a funny way of packing things away until it's ready to process them.
We rode Space Mountain 3 more times that day.
We did something else 3 times that night.
Yeah, get it.
Ayo!
Heyo!
Whoa! Question is, did they do it on Space Mountain? You're a Space Mountain, baby. Was that you?
Oh, yeah, I did that.
6 months later, I still haven't talked to Justin about what I saw. How can I?
Tomorrow's ultrasound should reveal the baby's sex. Dr. Broderick tried at 18 weeks, but the baby didn't cooperate.
It's a boy, at least according to my dreams. I keep seeing the woman, the cat. She takes me back to the meadow, to the foot of the Black Pyramid. My son stands atop it, surrounded by cats, bathed in the blood of his enemies. He is Mahed, Shiva, the Black Pharaoh, the beast from the sea, the east wind, Entropy, the conqueror worm.
God, I hope it's a girl.
Fuck yes, the story's awesome.
I know! I feel like okay. I think the reason why it didn't get top 3 because the story's amazing.
This was up in my top 3 for me and Kayla, I think.
Yeah, but at the same time, there was a part of me that was like, does it really fit that Disney?
Does it fit? Well, I think it's just a kick-ass story in general. That's the thing.
An amazing story.
It is a good story.
Right.
It's just,
but it's not really a story about Disney.
It's true.
Yeah, no. If you took Disney out of this and very little changes, and it could be anywhere.
I would argue though it ties in kind of neatly with the whole idea of the Disneyland cats thing, which is a whole phenomenon in itself, and I like that.
True.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there are other locations that are famous for like the amount of cats that they have just roaming around.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there like a whole island in Japan that is just covered in cats?
Yeah,
there's the cat cafes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, like I said, I had a feeling when we were going to start this that you were gonna like this one a lot.
Yeah.
I just haven't read a story this good in a while. Like if we're talking like online internet horror fiction, this is like relatable characters, really cool premise, surreal imagery done well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, props, Talos. This was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I knew part of me actually, because we were trying to debate if who should be for where, like if Alan would be in the winners or he would be here for our top or our judges' choices.
Yeah.
But a part of me hoped like, oh, please say Abysmii would be
because we knew we were going to read The Land of Mice.
No, because I knew and I knew he was going to be like, oh yeah, like he and I are. It's like, oh yeah, give me that surreal shit.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, and we could say it wasn't pandering to me, even though it totally just checks all my boxes. But I wasn't a judge, so this is just legitimately just well crafted.
I don't know if Talos or I don't know how many people know that I'm a surreal fan. Like if you write a surreal story really well.
Well, it's cool. It's like it's surreal, but it's grounded in a particular kind of surrealism because it's specifically evoking Egyptian mythology. So we have a basis for the surrealism,
and that's usually how surrealism works for the most part. Otherwise, it'd be basically Dadaism.
Yeah,
but surrealism usually has a basis of some kind. People who are like just go bumfuck insane and just don't do anything. That's when you're okay. Example, Escape from Tomorrow.
This whole contest is pretty much a reaction to Escape from Tomorrow when you think about
it. These stories are better than Escape from Tomorrow.
Literally everybody's story that was submitted, even the ones we didn't read out loud, better than Escape from Tomorrow. Like, hands down, easily. So our dog is kicking up a fuss, and I think that's a good sign that we should. And my neighbors downstairs seem to be cranking up their music. So
yeah, I hear some beat in the background.
Yeah, that's on us, unfortunately. So I think we're gonna have to wrap things up pretty soon. So hey, thank you all for participating in the contest. I'd like to thank my fellow judges for their opinions and their keen eye for fiction. I want to thank Alan and Abysmii for being our blind readers, just to see what their reactions are to the ones you picked out.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I will thank you on behalf of Alan.
All right, cool. Alan is busy being a pirate somewhere, and I hope he's having a blast. So, and according to him, we might get some surprises from that trip with he and the Coffee and Pie crew. So keep an ear out for that in the coming weeks, everybody.
Also, if you guys would like us to analyze your story, any story that you entered for a competition, whether it be the DisneyPasta Challenge or any of the past ones, please let us know. We have no problems reading them out loud and talking about them. Yeah, like the floor, with this thing done, the floor is now officially open. Future episodes are going to be for a little bit. We're going to be reading user submissions, and we're kind of changing the format a little bit because we'll still do SCP entries on occasion. I also want to occasionally delve into broader discussions like we've done before. Mm-hmm. So, expect a lot more freeform, cool stuff like that coming from this show. So, I don't know. I think we covered everything we need to cover. Anything anybody would like to plug while you're here?
I would say stay tuned because the next contest is in the works, but that'll be announced later, from what I understand.
Yep.
And then, do we want to just plug shows?
Let's plug our respective shows.
So there's a contest coming up, and it's a good one.
It's a darn good one.
It's a damn good one.
This is Alan's brainchild.
We're excited for it. Yes.
Like when Alan told us, we were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
But yeah, obviously, if you want to hear us on other podcasts here on the Creative Horror Network, there's my Midnight Marinara podcast, which Kaela helps produce. There's the Darkly Lit, which we have an episode coming up pretty soon, actually.
Mm-hmm. That one is on The Quiet Boy by Nick and Tosca.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be out November 13th.
Yes.
That's coming out tomorrow.
No, yes.
No, the 13th.
Well, because this will be released.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is being released on the 12th.
We're recording this earlier, but yeah, we're releasing this on the 12th. So look for The Quiet Boy, or talk about it on Darkly Lit tomorrow on Wednesday. And of course, Kaela and I we're kind of double featuring Animusings this month, our Disney animation podcast. Yes, we're still Disney shills, and to that degree. And we're going to be doing The Rescuers Down Under and Beauty and the Beast.
Which I'm ecstatic for, because Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie of all time, so.
And it's one of my favorites, and I adore The Rescuers Down Under.
Yes, so this is going to be good.
I love both of those.
Same.
So much.
Superb films. Anyone else?
I'm working on stuff in the background that's just taken forever, but once it comes out, I'll be sure to make more proper announcements for that.
Excellent.
And then we have The Witching Hour on creativehorror.com, and we're still doing our usual thing. We did put out 2 episodes in October. If you haven't listened to those, and the next one, 2 in October, 1 on the 1st of November, and the next one will be next month on the 1st, as always.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to figure out a good Disney send-off that's like, I hope you all come back real soon now, y'all. I don't know what I'm trying to think of.
That's not bad.
A magical day.
Have a magical day.
Have a magical fucking day.
No,
Come back soon, or I'm going to break your kneecap.
Because Uncle Walt said so.
Hey, just so you know, you're all great, and thank you for continuing to keep my corporate dream alive, even so many years after I died of lung cancer. And I'll turn it over to Paul Frees now to wrap things up completely. Thank you, Walt. Now I will raise the safety bar, and the ghost will follow you home. I can't do Paul Frees.
I know.
That was good.
I don't know. It was good.
Thank you.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of CreativeHorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at CreativeHorror.com.